In this video, I will show you a basic guide on how to do the Liberty Falls Easter egg. This is one of the easiest Easter eggs to do, so it's best to start off with this map. If you enjoy, please like and subscribe, and I'll soon be uploading a video of tips on how to make this Easter egg even easier, so make sure to hit the notification bell to keep updated. The first step is to follow the objective by buying all doors and make your way through the map to the church. Once you enter the church, you will notice that the objectives will disappear, and so you'll now need to interact with the machine found on your right. Once this is done, you'll be presented with a white screen, and some dialogue will start from Panos and Blanchard. You can now exit the Dark Aether and start building the Thrustodyne M23, or known as the jet gun. To build the jet gun, you'll need 3 pieces which can be picked up in any order: the water pressure gouge, electrical wires, and the handbrake. You'll need to make your way to Washington Avenue, and just outside Lily's flower pot shop, you'll be able to pick up a water valve from a pipe. Now make your way into Liberty Lanes and break open the panel on the right wall. Place the water valve down and hold your interact button until you are no longer able to. Bear in mind that this can take a while, and an infinite amount of zombies and vermin will spawn whilst you are doing this. Once you have built up enough water pressure, your screen will flash white and all zombies and vermin in the area will die, which gives you the time to pick up the water pressure gouge from the floor. To obtain the electrical wires, you will either need to craft the Mangler cannon or have a Mangler. You need to make your way to Riverside and you'll see a building called Radio House. Either shoot your Mangler cannon at the chained up door or have a Mangler shoot you whilst you're standing near the door so that it opens up. In this area, you'll find small piles of debris on the ground. You need to interact with each of them until you find the electrical wires, which you can then pick up. To obtain the handbrake, you will need to make your way to the cemetery, and every so often a neutral zombie will be roaming around called the groundskeeper. You will need to kill him so that he drops the tool shed key. Run down to the groundskeeper's yard where you'll find a small shed in the corner, next to the crafting table. You can interact with the door for it to open, and laying on the shelf is the handbrake. Now that you have all 3 pieces of the jet gun, you can make your way back to the motor lodge, and when you get close to the door with yellow tape, it will bust open and a small horde of zombies will run at you. When you have dealt with them and enter the room, you'll see a table with a blueprint of the jet gun. Simply hold your interact button and you'll be able to pick up the jet gun. Now that you've obtained the jet gun, you can now carry on with the Easter egg. This next step involves you using the jet gun to suck in 3 pieces of the limited transdimensional gateway device, or simplified as the LTG. You can obtain these in any order. One of the pieces can be found in Ollie's Comics in Riverside. This will be found in a broken ceiling tile just above the counter where you'll find Dr. Moline. Another piece can be found in one of the buildings in Washington Avenue. The way to obtain this is by making your way on top of the lorry found underneath the shorter zipline. Now look through one of the open windows and you'll be able to see it and suck it towards you. The final piece can be found next to Panos in the church, just slightly hovering above the balcony. Now you have obtained the pieces, you can now craft it. Make your way to the Alamo, and in the corner near the ammo box, there'll be a crafting table with all pieces laying there, ready to be put together. All you need to do is hold your interact button to craft it and obtain it. Now that you have the LTG, you need to use this in 2 places, but before you do, you'll need to place an empty ether canister close to a trap. This ether canister can be found on the machine you interacted with when you first started the Easter egg. Simply go up to the machine and hold interact to grab it. Whilst you are holding this, you cannot sprint, so you will need to carry this over to the closest trap, which is the Dark Aether field generator found on Hill Street. You'll need to drop this on the device which you can see on the screen. Now that your ether canister is ready to be filled, head over to the cemetery and place down the LTG under the small ether storm. This will begin a lockdown that would last around a minute, but in the meantime, you must protect the small portal that has opened from any zombies from entering it. If enough zombies enter it, it will fail, and you will need to go to the next round to start it again. Once you do protect it for around a minute, it will spawn a high value target, or HVT, which you must damage to get it to low enough health. Once it is almost dead, it will start emitting purple energy, whereby you must then take it down to the Dark Aether field generator and activate it. Kill the HVT whilst it is in the trap and close to the ether canister to fill it up. Once you see the essence transfer into the canister, pick it up and quickly transport it back to the machine where you originally got it from. The ether canister does leak, so make sure to put this back in the generator before it all disappears. You now need to repeat this step once more. Head back to where you originally placed the LTG and pick it back up. Make your way to the machine where you placed the ether canister, and a small drawer would have opened where you can pick up the Strauss counter. You will need this to obtain the next ether canister. Around the map there are 3 devices which can be turned on and interacted with to change the color of its lights to either green, red, or yellow. You'll need the Strauss counter to determine which of the colors need to be selected. The 3 locations where these devices can be found are on the grass section of the hilltop stairs, on the Yummy Freeze rooftop, and on the grass section of the groundskeeper's yard. Go to one of these devices found in these locations and pull out your Strauss counter. If the Strauss counter is green, you'll need to interact with the device so that the red light is on. If the Strauss counter is yellow, you'll need to interact with the device so that the yellow light is on. If the Strauss counter is red, you'll need to interact with the device so that the green light is on. You know you have done this correctly, as purple beams will come out of the devices and point towards the pump and pay. This is where the leaking ether canister is located, and now when you get back there, it will have stopped leaking and you can pick it up. The ether canister will need to be placed onto a device shown on the screen that is connected to a Dark Aether field generator. Make your way to the Riverside and place down the LTG under the small Dark Aether storm, and once again, protect it from any zombies that try to enter the portal. When done correctly, it will spawn another HVT, which must be killed while standing next to the ether canister, whilst also being affected by the Dark Aether field generator trap. Once you see the life essence of the HVT transfer into the ether canister, quickly grab it and transport it back up to the machine found in the church. You are now boss fight ready. But before you go in, make sure you feel like you are prepared with your weapons, perks, score streaks, and armor plates. Once you are ready, interact with the machine which you inserted the ether canisters into, and a white flash will appear on your screen. You can no longer leave the church and you'll be locked in this boss fight until the end of the encounter, or until you die. There are 3 phases to this boss fight, all increasing in difficulty. All phases will include charging zombies where they will run at their maximum speed. The first phase will include a couple of normal manglers and some charging zombies, which you will need to kill before proceeding to the next phase. The next phase will begin when a full armor power-up spawns. The next phase consists of a mangler HVT and some charging zombies. You must kill the HVT and a lot of charging zombies before you can proceed to the next phase. This phase will be complete when a max ammo power-up spawns. The final phase is the hardest phase, where an abomination HVT will spawn, along with regular manglers and charging zombies. This can be tough, but if you are prepared enough, you will be able to take these down. Once you have defeated the HVT, some manglers and some charging zombies, the machine will fill and it will pulse out a massive wave of energy that will instantly down you, or activate your dying wish. Congratulations, you have now completed the Easter egg. A small cutscene will follow, but I won't spoil it in case you haven't watched it yet, so make sure to give it a go and see what happens. Another video will be uploaded giving you some tips on how to make the Easter egg even easier, whilst being efficient with your equipment, money, and salvage, so make sure to check that video out. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.